Good morning! I'm going to show you how to do a bunch of cool stuff in Pure Shell. Not just because it's fun, even though that's the main reason. Also because it's actually a lot more efficient, and I will show you why it's more efficient. But let's just start with a very simple example. In Bash, actually, instead of ZSH in this case, I am going to make a variable. My variable will be called day, and day is going to be equal to date plus %a, and that's just going to evaluate to the long name of the day, so in this case Tuesday. Say I wanted to do a little bit of string manipulation on this variable. Well, of course I could use, core utils like cut or that sort of thing, or even like awk and sed, but there is so much that we can do without any of that. Like, we don't need those external tools to do some basic processing. So let's start, for example, by getting the first 4 characters. Well, I could get the first 4 characters just with curly braces, day, 0 to 4, like that, and that's my first 4 characters. I could actually just drop that 0 though. I don't even need it, because what 0 is going to stand for is the offset. So with no offset, we're going to start at the beginning. Maybe I want an offset of 2 instead. We're going to start 2 characters in. I could also get the reverse of this. I could start at the end. I could do day, and maybe I want to get the last 3 characters just to get the word day there. Well, there we go. I have a really good example to show you why this is more efficient. I'm going to start with the most complex way of doing this, and then I'm going to take us back down to doing it in Pure Shell. So let's look at printing the working directory. Okay, that's my directory. I'm in my home directory. I'm going to make this into a variable. I'm going to say my dir equals pwd. So if I echo out my dir, that's just going to be my working directory there, right? Say I want to strip everything up to and including that final slash there. So I just want to isolate the word bread out of this, right? Well, I could do this with awk if I wanted to. For example, I could echo my dir. I could pipe this into awk. I could say awk -f/ for the separator there, and I could say, let's just print $NF, and well, that is going to do it for me. That is going to do it for me, and that is going to do that in a whopping 2 milliseconds there. Well, we can do this in a little bit of a more efficient way. We've got our convenient little core utils command called basename, which is made for this express purpose. I could strip out the directory and the suffix from file names. Well, I could actually just do basename on my dir here, my dir, if I could type it. There we go. That's going to do the same thing for me, and if I time that, that's actually going to be faster. That's going to be like in 1 millisecond there. Okay, so that's like the convenient way of doing it. That's the real way to do it. But we can do this even faster. I can do this in Pure Shell. I can do echo, I can do my dir, and I can do a double number sign, and I can do a star and a slash to remove everything before that final slash. If I go ahead and echo that, same result there. We are doing that in 0 milliseconds. That is actually the fastest. And yeah, of course, at the level of me just running some scripts a few times a day, that level of optimization is not only a point of diminishing returns, but I'm definitely losing time by doing that optimization. I'm purely doing it because I enjoy doing it. But conversely, at mass scale, at the level of maybe you're running a complex pipeline thousands of times a second, suddenly that optimization is not only worth it, but it's orders of magnitude of difference. If you're using awk instead of using something like core utils or Pure Shell, you are losing so much time and so much performance if you're running something at mass scale. Okay, but we just scratched the surface of what is possible with this internal shell string manipulation. I have way more to show you. So first of all, you know how $0 is the name of your shell? Well, let's just use this as a variable because we can do that. Say I want to capitalize that. Well, I could do 0 and I could do double caret. That's going to be full capitals. Or I could do a single caret, which is going to be case. By the way, a comma is just going to be lowercase as well. I could also do substitution. So say I have $0, maybe I want to take bash and make this into, instead of bash, I'm going to make it SpongeBob SH. We have SpongeBob SH. I have no idea why that was what came to mind. I would use this. If this were a shell, I would use it. But anyways, so this is virtually instant, the substitution, right? And the other way of doing this, of course, would be sed. So I could do like sed s ba SpongeBob, and I'm going to go ahead and take that from $0. I will show you how to do that in a second, the 3-arrow trick there. But yeah, so same thing, same result. That is actually slower. Of course that's slower, because we're using sed instead of doing it in Pure Shell. Now, there's something else that you can do as well. I'm going to make another variable. So I had that variable called day from before. I'm just going to make another variable that starts with the same characters. I'm going to say day2 equals literally doesn't matter what it is in this case. But now I have two different variables that start with the same string. This is really easy to figure out. I can literally just do exclamation point. Let's just say DA for the sake of it, put an at the end there, and those are my variables. That will print out those variables. And of course, that is extremely powerful because now I have those variable names. I can call them, I can do all sorts of things with them, and that was just from pure shell. And there is so much more that is possible. This is called parameter expansion. And this is all, I'm learning this from the bash manual, by the way. And the reason that I'm making this video is because the bash manual, I honestly find it hard to read through. Like, I have to read things probably 3 or 5 times to really understand them. And I would imagine that's the case for a lot of people with this sort of like thick text. It's kind of hard to get through. So I feel like making a video is probably like easier to learn from. It's easier to see these things just demonstrated as opposed to just reading the manual, unfortunately, as much as I advocate for reading manuals. But yeah, there is way more that you can do with this. Anyway, so I want to show you something else now, which is actually working with defaults and fallbacks. Okay, now there's 4 things to go over here. Honestly, I find them a little bit confusing, the way that the man page explains them. So I'm gonna do my best to explain these in a clearer way so you can actually understand what's going on. So I still have my variable called day, right? It is still equal to Tuesday. I'm gonna go ahead and unset this variable. So I'm gonna unset this. So now we no longer have a variable called day. Say I want a default for this variable or a fallback. I honestly, to be fair, I don't know whether default or fallback is the right word to use here, but that doesn't really matter. I'm just going to show you how it works. So let's go ahead and say I want to echo day if it exists, but if it doesn't exist, I want to set my variable as Tuesday. I want it to be called Tuesday. So now if I echo that, okay, we get the word Tuesday, and if I echo day again, day got set as Tuesday, right? So I'm going to go ahead and unset this again, and importantly, this was using an equal sign. Equal sign is going to set your variable to the thing that you put after that equals, okay? Now I'm going to say, instead of setting that variable, I just want to print a string, right? I want to print Tuesday as my string here, but I don't want to set that variable. So in this case, it's going to print the string Tuesday, but if now I echo day again, day never got set. It is an unset variable, right? Okay. Say instead I just want to print a little error message. If it doesn't exist, well, that's simple enough to do. I can just do a question mark instead, and I can say, you know, error message, like that, right? There's my error message. Okay, question mark is just going to set an error message for you. Now, lastly, I can also do a plus sign. What a plus sign is going to do is going to say, if day exists, then print this thing. So I don't know, I'll literally say print this thing, right? Day does not exist, so it won't get printed. But if I just set day as, you know, whatever, I'll literally just set it as directory, why not? Now day as a variable exists, and I can go ahead and it will print that thing. Okay, one more trick for you that definitely does not belong in this video, but it was useful enough that I just wanted to throw it in here anyways, since I referenced it earlier. Okay, so I still have $0 being my shell. I could do some substitution on this with sed, right? Like, and normally you would just pipe it into sed, so, you know, pipe sed, and I'll do, you know, let's substitute BA with bread, and I'll close out my substitution. There we go. So normally that is how you would do it. You would just do echo, and you would do a pipe. Well, we can avoid this entirely, actually. I can do sed, and I'll do my substitution again here. But instead of using echo or a pipe, I'll just use 3 back arrows, and I'll do $0, and that's actually going to accomplish the exact same thing. And I could do this with any command, so I could do like word count, and I'll do $0 again, and there's word count. Instead of doing echo, $0 piping it into word count, those actually accomplish the same thing. Now, this is called a here string, and I'm only scratching the surface with this, so I'll probably return to it in the future, but I don't know. I felt like because I referenced it, it would be useful to just show you this is possible to do. That's about it. I will see you next time. Peace.